Hello and welcome back to Onderheim Zoo, just as the sun is rising over the mountains, it looks like. How lovely. In today's episode, we are going to be tackling the brand new area of our zoo over here. So, I think this is going to be a two-parter. What I'm thinking is in this episode, we're going to do all of the surrounding, like a little kind of ancient Egypt style, probably a pretty gimmicky style, I'm thinking, kind of with all those really fun pieces that we have in this game for it, but a little bit of like a village and just kind of walk through area here. And then what I had boxed off here was for a big temple, but that actually might be next episode. I'm thinking we'll do village and a couple of habitats around the temple first. Maybe I'll like mark off the temple with some boards, but I think next episode we'll have to build the temple. I am also still a bit undecided what I want to do about this pile of sand that I created over here. I think I might just flatten it for now and then, build up some sand hills around here if we need them. For the most part, I think it does kind of make sense for a lot of this desert to be flat anyway, so I don't know, I'm not too concerned about it. But the other thing that I was thinking, and you've probably noticed, but this river has come a little bit short. I know when I redid this water, I even kind of mentioned, I think, oh, it kind of seems like it's a little more shallow than it was previously. Definitely is. And I kind of think that maybe I was trying to think of what it is that's blocking it from coming up all the way, and it must be these bridges, like these ones here, because it wouldn't be this. This is plenty raised above the water, I think. I guess it could be this part. I don't know. I think I might take down or just get rid of the paths on these bridges for now, because they're pretty easy to make, to remake anyway, and see if that lets me raise the water, because that is something that I do want to fix. But besides that, after last week's cleanup, pretty much everything is wrapped up in what we've done so far. The only other thing that I do need to do, and I will do because I want to show you the new maps in this episode, is remake these maps. So currently it still only has up to the Fennec Fox, and I don't really love the style either of these maps. I'm gonna do it better. I'm gonna make a really cool map. Especially considering we only have a little bit left to build anyway. So once we have the Egypt part in, I'm going to build a really cool map all the way to here. Maybe I'll even path it out all the way to the end, and then basically just need to build the last little bit of this zoo after that's done. So yeah, I don't think there's really too much else to look at. Actually, a couple of things that I did notice in the last episode during that tour. One was that we have more wild dogs now. So let's take a look, make sure that the babies have contraceptives. Yeah, they do, okay. Wow, look at them all. I didn't know they've had so many kids already. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? We've had 5, 6 kids already, just the 2 of them? Wow. Do they I wonder, let's hold on hand. I want to make sure that their social is good, so that's fine. Their kids are all on contraceptives, so that's good. And then if I went to Zoopedia, we don't have an issue with there being 2 males, do we? Okay, yeah. Lots of males. Actually, you can have more males than females even. That's cool. Okay, perfect. So we'll just let them kind of be a pack, be a family. I won't get rid of the babies unless we get some kind of challenge to release them to the wild or something. Maybe we'll release some of them. But very fun. Look at you, Papa. Dad, I guess. Okay, and then I think similarly the hyenas have maybe made some more hyenas. Let's take a look. Oh, there's an alert here. Okay. Okay, so they've only had the one baby. Still. What is the alert for? Who is the alert for? Oh, okay. Interesting. So we can only have one female hyena, I think. Let's pause this for a second and take a look. So this might be a problem because she's grown up. No, it says 2 males and 2 females. That's odd. Huh, so why are they fighting? Suspicious. I don't really understand that, but maybe we just keep the 2 of them in here then? These are the 2 females, right? Yeah. Okay. Oh, because she took alpha status? Interesting. This is the kid. She's not our original one. Okay, well, we're gonna send her to the trade center because I don't really want to deal with all that. And of course, our poor meerkats are stressed again. But one thing that I've noticed, I mean, I'm probably gonna jinx it now, but something that I've noticed is that the fennec foxes haven't been quite as stressed out lately as they were before. So I think the brick wall's working. You know, hopefully that's not gonna jinx it too much. But yeah, it's looking good. What actually do we have for challenges? Giant tiger, land snail education rating. I don't know how to increase that. But you know, whatever it is. And two black wildebeests. Okay, to the wild. I wonder how many we have actually. This is also a habitat that I've just kind of been letting run free. Every once in a while I go into the animals list and just give all animals that were born in the zoo contraceptives so that we know that they're not gonna grow up. But let's see, what is wrong with these guys? Oh, why is he in the... Okay, that's fine. Yeah, it looks like I could probably release 2 of these to the wild. The 2 that are on contraceptives. Let's take a look. Oh, okay. That's not what I meant to do. Oh no. That's not what I meant to do. I meant to click on the Zoopedia. Let's try that again. So I wanted to check the black wildebeest. Where are you? There we are. What I want to do is check the Zoopedia. How many of them can we have? Okay, only 1 male. So that's what we gotta watch out for. So let's take a look here. Yeah, there's only 1 male in here now. Yeah, 1 male, 2 female. This is correct. Oh no, that's not. I'm such a mess today. I'm sorry, guys. Black wildebeest. We have 1 male, 2 female, and then he needs to go get released to the wild as well. So let's put him in the trade center for now. And then take a look at who is in the trade center. And that would be black wildebeests. Where are you? The bottom, because I just put them in. Okay, yeah, so we can release... Ooh, she's actually gold rated. That's fun. I think I'm gonna release these 2. I think one of these, I don't know where the other guy, I think I might have bought him, I can't remember. But let's release those 2 to the wild. We don't need more males anyway. And we should get a prize for that. Perfect. Alright. Good. Get some of our challenges done. What's this one? Tortoises. Yeah, we don't have any tortoises. Perfect. Okay. Well, I think that pretty much wraps up the housekeeping. We don't have any more alerts coming up right away. So why don't we just jump into the speed build? Alright, so here we go, setting up all of this. It is now, it's currently a very cold and gloomy Sunday morning as I am recording the voiceover for this one, but re-seeing the building of this is definitely totally different vibes. I love how like warm and colorful this zoo is. It always makes me so happy to like be here and be like playing in this zoo. It's so fun. So what we're working on today is essentially what we get complete here is this cute little Egyptian stripway town sort of thing. Like the area that we actually do is quite small. It's probably I mean, with the habitats in there, it's probably about equivalent to the size of Tatooine. But there's going to be a lot of, like, you kind of notice at the end, I might go over it a little bit in the outro. But there is a lot of, like, in-between space that we're still going to have to fill. But I am thinking that maybe I'll leave that for a little while, just to see, you know, does it make sense to just copy and paste some buildings over? Do we want some more, like, open space? What makes the most sense? And that sort of thing. So, yeah, for now, we're just starting with the cute little detailed kind of town like we have been recently. So I'm really excited about how this one turns out. And essentially what I did for this one, there was 2 core inspiration pieces that I used. So I found this art station gallery of someone doing artwork for the for Assassin's Creed, essentially, I think for Memphis. And that's kind of what I used for inspiration for the colors and for, you know, the kind of general styling of the buildings. And then I saw this one really cool picture, and I don't know what, I think it was just some kind of fantasy, like futuristic ancient Egypt style, like high view of like a city or something, but essentially it was this really long road that at the end of the road was this like a temple. So I thought, you know what? I want a road, I want a temple. Why don't I do something similar to that? And that one had a lot of really cool water features in it. Like it was obviously like a very futuristic style thing, and they had all this water and all of these like waterfalls to nowhere, and like, or not waterfalls from nowhere, and like just these crevices that just fell down into like the abyss with like waterfalls going down. That's all you could see. And obviously I wasn't gonna do that here. We could do something really cool like that at some point, but I think it would just look so out of place in this zoo if I really tried to do something like that. But I loved the idea of the big walkway. I decided to keep the water feature for like some styling right around the temple here. I don't actually finish the temple, by the way. That's as much as the temple gets done in this episode. That'll be next episode. But I just wanted to get the base done for that and kind of what it might look like on the outside anyway. But yeah, I figured we're in the desert. It probably doesn't make sense to do too much water, but like water is a very rich resource, obviously. And I'm going for a very like rich themed city over on this side, more similar to the Oasis. Less similar to what we've done since the Oasis. So it kind of went like very rich themed to, or I guess, what did we do at the entrance? I'd say the entrance is pretty neutral. The entrance might actually be more like this, more along the lines of this one. Maybe not quite as fancy as this one. But yeah, like essentially we went from that very rich Oasis to a bit more of a poor area, or a bit more of a rundown area with that little African section, and then the Tatooine area, and then you come right back into here, and it's like this was all built for the temple, you know what I mean? Like that's what this is all here for. So for the first part of this video, essentially I wanted to just create all of the shapes first, get an idea of what the buildings that were right along this strip would look like, play with a few different shapes, and then that way I can just copy and paste these buildings later on to other areas. And then here what we're doing is adding some details. So I went with this like blue, yellow, and red color scheme, which sounds really crazy, like this primary color scheme, but I actually really love how it turns out. I think as long as you kind of keep it subtle enough, like not subtle, but like, you know, I use it basically on these roof like decorations and that sort of thing, and then on a bit of the tiling around the area, and then after that, like, I just don't really use it for too much else. I think it looks really cool. So the first thing that I tried here was using these concrete pieces at the top to make that like curved roof look, and I don't know, I tried it, it didn't quite fit. It wasn't exactly what I wanted this to look like. So I found these curved pieces instead, and obviously it was a lot more work, but once you do it once, it's just copy and paste. I decided to just make my own facade here. So essentially these are just, I think they're the East Asia painted curved pieces, just kind of stacked on top of each other, and then I did this pattern of the colors separated by some black every once in a while. And yeah, I really like how it turned out. It looks really crazy just at first. Like, I think this looks really insane. But it works somehow. Like, it works once the buildings are done. I think because the buildings are so plain sandstone and all that, I think it ends up looking really, really cool. So I really hope you like how it turned out. I don't know if this really screams Egypt to you. I think it's not really what I had in mind when I was thinking I would do something ancient Egypt themed, but I don't know, I think with the like styling of the buildings and just kind of the general shape that we're going for, I think that's kind of what I had in mind. And then this just seems to be a really cool, colorful addition, right? Like, I don't know, maybe they played with color. I'm not really that versed on history, right? So I mostly rely on like images and drawings that people have made and that sort of thing. So I know it's hard to know exactly how much color they played with because color fades over time, or what the color might have looked like at the time. But yeah, I think overall, this, I don't know, it worked out. Even if it's not exactly like the ancient Egypt that you were expecting or that I was expecting, I still really like how it turned out. And I think what I'll do is for the actual temple, I'll play around more with like the more traditional motifs. And like, I know in this game we don't really have like hieroglyphs or anything, but we do have like those meerkats that like kind of look like sphinxes, and some of the like tiling and stuff I think I could maybe make look like the more traditional, I think they're called hieroglyph, like tiling. So I'll play with more of that like traditional style on the actual temple when we get to that. But for the city, I don't know. I'm really happy with how the theme turned out, even if it's not really like what we were expecting when we heard ancient Egypt, you know. So I'm also playing around with these columns. These are the North Africa columns. They look a little bit more similar to kind of what I was looking for. The ones that I had seen in like some images and stuff, or some drawings, they're just artwork, were more like the patterns on them were more proper like Egyptian style patterns rather than these like just shape patterns. But the overall look, I think, of it is pretty much the same. I guess I maybe forgot to mention, you probably realized by now, I did do a quick cut there after I made that one roof to make all the other roofs. Just because it was a bit tedious to like copy and paste the roofs over, but I just wanted to show you how I made it, and then I obviously just resized it, copy and pasted it, and I made all the roofs with these little the little indent on it too, because I saw that a lot, and I don't know, I think it was mostly because people spent time on the roofs, like it was another space for like another useful space in these houses since the weather's so nice. You don't worry about like them collecting much rain or snowfall or anything like that, so yeah, I think I haven't really styled the tops of the buildings even by the end of by the time we go to the real-time part, but maybe I'll think about adding some more stuff to the tops. It's just kind of like, you don't see it from a guest perspective, but I guess when we like fly over it, it's always nice for things to look well done. So yeah, that's basically the kind of shell of that city done. The windows, the styling of the buildings, other than the detail work. We'll go back in and do the detail work afterwards, but what I wanted to do here was set up the habitats. So we're doing 2 habitats, as you probably know by now, in this episode. And yeah, they're both pretty much the same size. They're actually a little small. I think I need to fix the elephant habitat at some point. I might talk about that in the real-time part as well. But yeah, either way, this is just kind of what the outline of the habitats looks like. I put those paths down. I actually found it made it easier to make the barriers look more square, I guess. So essentially, like, it's not that I'm not going to keep the paths around. I think I'm going to delete them even like right now. But I put those there so that I kind of knew how to make a square habitat, because it's so hard if you like, there's no like snap to grid for the barriers, which I kind of wish there was. Like there's a snap to 90, but if you don't get that first one like perfectly on your grid, then it's like, it's impossible to snap to 90 and go around. I feel like it'd be so much easier if you could just do like 4 meter width barriers and just like snap them straight to the grid, or 8 meters or whatever it might be. I think that would be nice, but either way, it is what it is. We don't have that. So yeah, basically just the same sort of habitat on both sides here. And I just wanted to get these kind of wrapped up at this point. I don't know why I did this before the detail work. I think it was just to see what it would look like. And I knew that I wanted to put some buildings into these habitats as well. Even though I didn't actually really like keep the same detail work on the buildings inside the habitats as outside, it just wouldn't really make sense to have like clutter and all this like random stuff on the inside of the habitats. Like it makes sense to have the buildings, right? So they have some shelter, and like you can kind of see it as like a more like an old part of the city that they turned into a habitat or something, but it doesn't really make sense for it to have like pots hanging around and all of that weird stuff. So yeah, I just kind of, I didn't really detail the buildings inside the habitats too much, but I think that's okay. I think it worked out. And I basically, like, I think we have enough shells here at this point that I could just copy and paste these buildings in, and it looks pretty good. Like, it doesn't look too repeated. I mean, you can let me know if you disagree, but I think it ends up looking pretty decent. I don't know, I was thinking about maybe looking into making the camel habitat a walk-through habitat, but I don't actually know whether or not you can walk through camel habitats. I'm going to look into it before we go into the real-time part, because I wonder if that would be kind of cool. There's not a lot of like food and drink in this area, or like places for the guests to go because it's just one road. I was kind of thinking that maybe we'll have more inside the temple. But maybe it would also be cool if you could like, if we expanded the city out so that the camel habitat was also part of like the city that the guests could enjoy. I might have to look into that now that I'm thinking about it. I'll check it after this. I also don't want to stress them out though either. So like if they're, I know some animals are guest friendly, but they're not like, they get so stressed out when the guests are around. So it's just not worth having walkthrough habitats for those animals because stress, like animal stress, is like my biggest. If you've been watching this for any amount of time other than this video, you know that animal stress is like my biggest issue in these in this franchise mode. I can't. It's in every zoo, every time. I can't handle animal stress. I don't know what's wrong with me. But anyway, now we are at this point of detailing one of these buildings. So I did something similar here to what I did I think in most of my other time lapses. Nobody's complained. I haven't really gotten a ton of feedback on it. But no complaints anyway, so I assume it's okay. Or it's like works for you guys. But essentially what I did was I showed me detailing this building, and then I just detailed all the other buildings off camera, essentially copying a lot of the same elements and the same style and all of that, because it would get very tedious if I like it was extra hours of work detailing all of the buildings, so that would have made this time lapse incredibly long. I can hardly talk for like, this was a long time lapse. I know I keep saying they're long time lapses. This one's like almost 19 minutes. I can hardly talk for 19 minutes. I couldn't imagine having to talk over like an hour long time lapse video. That would be insane to me. But yeah, so essentially I played around a lot with this tiling. I think this looks really cool. It's like the colors look really nice, like it brings that color into it, but it's still fairly subtle, like it's not over the top. I was thinking about using the pattern tiles, but I think the pattern tiles might have added a bit too much with how colorful we have for the roofs and like the columns and stuff. So I really like this style. I used this door multiple places. Like just basically copy and pasted the doorway onto the other buildings. And then this canopy that I'm making right now, I also used a bunch in the images and the drawings that I was using for the kind of color scheme and general theme of the actual building styling. They had a lot of these canopies, which I think makes sense. Like they weren't even all over doorways or windows or anything. They were just sometimes on the sides of buildings, probably to shade like storage space and that sort of thing. Because you want that shade in Egypt, right? Like in the desert, you need extra shade like as much as possible. So I think it kind of adds this cool little rustic feel to it. I was trying to like kind of mix in a little bit with the detailing because the actual buildings look very well put together and like very how do I describe it, like very rich. But I wanted, like, obviously this is meant to be kind of an old place, right? So I wanted to just kind of add some details in that made it feel a little bit more like old. Yes, I don't have a lot of words, I'm sorry. I should be better at this by now, but I don't have a lot of good descriptor words. So I thought these kind of canvas awnings, and then I'll go in and throw in like, the pots and some of those wood platforms and like the wheelbarrows and that sort of thing that we did throw into all the other areas as well, just to kind of tie it along and make it also feel like, yeah, this is a very like rich place, but it was still, functional way back in the day before we had anything too fancy or before we could get away with keeping the streets totally clean. They still need to be functional sort of thing. So yeah, that's kind of what I was going for, a good balance of it here. And I like how it turned out. I think it turns out quite well. And I think the wood really makes the difference here, because that like in the desert, wood is probably a pretty scarce resource, but I think overall wood is still like a fairly cheap looking resource. So it just kind of makes it look like, we use what we can get our hands on sort of thing. So in the middle of the pathways here, I just blocked off a little bit of space. This is a really wide path, so there's still 8 meters on both sides of this, and I thought it would be nice to have, just to break things up a little bit, to have these little like planters in the middle and just kind of, a little bit of gardening and that sort of thing. Never hurt anybody. But in one of the images that I was looking at, they had this pyre. I don't know what these are called. It was just like one of those big triangular things. I don't know. I'm awful. I'm sorry, guys. But yeah, so I wanted to replicate it. I don't know if I love how it turned out. The one that I saw was definitely cooler than this one. I had a hard time. I don't know. I thought I was doing it, but then looking at it, I was like, that looks odd. But I think in the end, it's in the planter with some trees and it's kind of surrounded by some stuff. So I think we get away with it in the end. It's kind of a little bit more hidden. It's not like a focal point or anything. It's just like an old ruin, restored ruin sort of thing. It's kind of what the vibes that it gives me. So I think it works out in the end. It was just, yeah, I don't know. It looks a little bit strange, but I wanted to do the dark with the gold. Maybe it would have been better if I had done black or something instead of brown. I don't know. But yeah, I think I like the overall vibe, but the way this actually turned out, it's not my favorite thing that I've ever built, but it was fairly easy, so I'm not really going to complain. But yeah, I think these little gardens are pretty much the last thing that I end up doing on in this speed build. This little spire, the thing that I use on top is just that there's one of these pyramid pieces. I was looking for, I thought maybe there was a gold one in this game, a shiny one. But I couldn't find it, so I guess it doesn't exist. I don't know why that was in my head that existed. But yeah, for these beds, I don't end up using that piece. I just end up putting in a bunch of desert. A bunch of the long grass, actually, I think looks really good. And then I added in just a bunch of desert plants in all of these ones. And that is pretty much it. So let's take a look what it looks like now. And here is our little Egypt. Nobody's here yet. The guests have not managed to really make their way over here, which is unfortunate. And the sun is going down, but I figured why not take a look at it in the dark first. Maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit underwhelming in the dark, but hopefully not too bad. Anyway, so yeah, this is kind of what it looks like. I used to have some education boards here. I'm going to redo that. But this building vanished on me. I think I'm starting to get to some peace limits on this zoo. Hopefully it doesn't give me too much of an issue going forward, because I still have a lot that I want to build. But yeah, I don't know what happened. This building just vanished and all my camels escaped recently. I don't know. But I know I'm also having some issues with franchise connections. Maybe it just didn't save properly. It's hard to say. But yeah, this area, I lit it all up. It's not really super bright. It's meant to be kind of, fire lit, like you would expect in places that are a little bit older, but a lot of these windows do light up, not all of them, because we don't have power quite everywhere, but for the most part it looks, I think, pretty cool. So who do we have issues with right now? Penguin, that's fine. Yeah, so the first thing I actually wanted to double check is, can we have a walkthrough habitat for our camels? We'll also take a closer look at who we got as well in just a second here. I just want to double check before I forget. We have confident with humans. Oh, but guests cannot enter habitat. Okay, so we can't make this part of the city. That's fine. I'm not too concerned about that. It's weird that they can't, even though people and camels and have, lived together for ages. But I'm just gonna wait until the sun comes back up, and then let's take a look at the animals that we got. All right, here we go. The sun has crested the mountain now, so let's take a look at who we've got. For our elephants, we got 3 elephants in here. This is our nice big male elephant. I need to give him a little star, just to make sure that we don't forget who he was. But essentially, I didn't actually get any rated elephants, but their genetics aren't bad. Genetics look pretty good, so hopefully they can make us some gold rated babies. The habitat in here is okay so far. But the space isn't great. So one of the things that I'm going to do off camera before next episode, because I do want to wrap up this one, is expand the elephant habitat. Probably would have been easier if I had switched the habitats and made the other one the camel or the elephant habitat, because I could have just expanded it toward Tatooine a bit more. Expanded it out this way might have made more sense. So I might have to do that. Just trying to think, how could I get away with not doing that? But I think I might have to. This can be the camel habitat, because I think they're pretty happy with the size. Let's double check. Like, if we get a bunch more of them, are they going to be upset about the size of this habitat? Yeah, no, this habitat's huge for them, so I think I might switch it around. I'll do that off camera. I'm not going to do that before the end of this video, but I'm going to put the elephants over here, and that way I can expand it out all the way like this, and then you can maybe get another view of the elephants as you walk over that way as well. It'll definitely, you know, lead for less views on the camels, but that's okay. So yeah, we have 3 elephants, and we've got 2 camels over here as well, our male camel and our female camel. And he's actually a gold-rated camel. I paid 8,000 conservation credits for him, so hopefully they make us some good gold-rated babies as well. But yeah, I don't think there's really too much else to look at. This is kind of, I mean, this is, you know, what the city looks like, or what this little city looks like in the daylight, since we did only see it at night. Actually, let's jump in here. Okay, there we go. So now we can see it at guest level here. Yeah, this is some staff area work, which is fine. Oh, it looks like we actually have one real guest here. That's great. He's wearing an African wild dog hat. So I just wanted to show you some of the views into the habitats over here. So this one is a view into one of the elephant sleeping areas, sheltered areas. This one is only going to actually be for baby elephants though, because it's not tall enough for the adult elephants. The adult elephants sleep in the ones back there, but there's another little viewpoint here. You can see their nice big swimming hole. I like how this turned out as well. I think this is a cute little swimming hole for them. I'll have to make that same one for the new habitat for them as well. You can see them entering over there, and then this is the animal talk point area, so we've got some education boards here. This will be that, like, meet the elephants board. I'll make that before next episode as well. But yeah, you can see them swimming. How fun. I love that. It's a good sized water area. I might even make it bigger for the bigger habitat. One, like, maybe even double the size of this might be fun for them. But yeah, you can get a really good view of the habitat from here. Which is cool. Nobody's coming to the talks yet, though. Hopefully the guests will make their way here soon. And then over here we have the camels. So we have one little look right here into the camel sleeping area. Clearly we're missing a piece there. Oh well. And then over here is the camel talk points. There's seating for the camel talk point right here. And that is where you would get the talk about the camels, and you can get a really good view of them here. Basically you can see their whole habitat. They've got lots of shelter over here that they can hang out in. And yeah, they've got their own little swimming hole here as well. They'll have the bigger one in the elephant habitat though. I think will be better for them anyway. They do like to swim. I didn't know that camels like to swim, so that's kind of a neat fact. But oh, what is he jumping over? Is there something there? That was interesting. So yeah, I'm curious to see how these habitats look with a few babies, or maybe a few additional animals in them as well. There's our funny little spire. And then, yeah, you can kind of imagine what this is going to look like next time. We're going to have, after next episode, we're going to have a huge temple build up over here, and I'm so excited for it. It's going to be so fun. It's going to be like, I imagine it's going to block the view of these mountains. I don't think, like, I'm not going small with this temple. This is a temple. The temple to end all temples. It's going to be really good. But with that, that is the end of today's episode. So I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think of our little Egyptian area so far. Obviously, we need to expand that out quite a bit more. But I think it'll look really awesome. I'm thinking it'll still come around this side of the temple as well, like the city. But we need to do a little bit of work on the like core secret feature of this zoo still before that. So you're going to look forward to that in like 2 episodes. We're going to have to start working on that area. And I'm really excited for that. It's going to be quite the building challenge. I also do kind of think that maybe we need to fill this area in. I don't know. I need to think about it a little bit, see what exactly we want to do. Do we kind of expand Tatooine out here a little bit more? Do we make this like, I don't know, maybe I just need another habitat? Like maybe we bring in a cheetah or something, like another desert animal that we don't really have plans for, and just put their habitat here to kind of round things out a little bit. I'm not entirely sure. Let me know if you have any ideas for this area, because I don't think I'm going to do it right away. But maybe we just expand out Tatooine out this way a little bit more, like sparsely, and then it sort of will fill it up a bit. But yeah, I hope you are enjoying this so far. I'm really liking how this is coming around. Hopefully we get some guests all the way over here soon. They're not really coming this way, but I think once we have this as a loop, it'll just kind of round everything out. It's going to be a big loop, and they can come this way as well. Well, I'm just going to say goodbye here. I will talk to you in the next episode.